The Ink and Paint Club podcast is intended for mature audiences only, so don't tell your parents! Listener discretion is advised.
Would you do it for a Kyle snack?
What would be a Kyle snack?
Like a donut.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Do I have to get him a big donut, or can I get like a bag of mini donuts?
Like a bag of donut holes?
Yeah. But no, I meant like those little Hostess mini donuts.
Oh.
No, that's some bitch shit.
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, your weekly home for animation reviews and discussions.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ink and Paint Club podcast for this week. My name is JD, and joining me is Kyle.
Hey.
And Matt.
Hey.
And you're in for a gut-tearing, rip-roaring good time this week, because we're talking about the new Mortal Kombat. Yeah, that. We are talking about the new Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge animated movie and as part of our ongoing saga that is Fight Month.
Get ready to brawl. Round one. Fight.
I've been waiting for this day.
Get over here!
Hadouken! The Iron Fist Tournament.
Oh, you get Game set. Perfect!
So yeah, so Warner Brothers Animation, because Mortal Kombat's owned by Warner Brothers, put out an animated film basically recounting the story of Mortal Kombat 1 with some bits and pieces thrown in here.
This is like the fourth time they've retold this story. Because there's the original Mortal Kombat 1 game. There is the live action movie, the first one they did. There is in Mortal Kombat
MK9.
Yeah, in MK9, a 1/3 of that's a retelling of Mortal Kombat 1.
Right.
And then we have this.
So in case you have not been satiated on the story, the origin story of Mortal Kombat, here it is yet again. In I honestly say probably one of the more interesting, at least stylistically, takes on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely the best animated Mortal Kombat thing out there.
Oh, by far.
Because last Fight Month we covered Defenders of the Realm, which I still really like.
It has its merits.
Yeah, and then I brought it up during that, but and I'm hoping to cover it for Fight Month next year. But the journey begins.
Do we have to?
I hope we can.
It's got so much recycled animation in it.
Oh, it's so bad, but so
There's like
good.
a 20-minute fight scene where they only reuse like 5-6 cycles of animation for it.
But yeah, definitely the best animated Mortal Kombat thing out there.
Yeah,
which is not saying much, but still, I would say even on its own merits, this was a very well done. It could have been a lot worse, but it actually turned out very good.
Yeah.
Because even though it's another retelling of the events of Mortal Kombat 1, I feel like every time it gets retold, they add enough to kind of differentiate it. Because every time that they've redone the story, it's not completely the same. There's enough changes.
Yeah. So Kyle, I don't know how much you're familiar with Mortal Kombat, but what did you think of this movie?
I'm none familiar with it.
Oh, 0%.
I thought it was alright.
Well, good. Then you're a good baseline.
I thought it was fine. It was cool, I guess. It was the best Samurai Jack episode I've seen in a long time.
I did write in my notes that there's a bit in there that Hanzo is looking straight up season 5 Samurai Jack.
Yeah. It was in the beginning.
A little bit.
Part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's making that same connection, the Gendy comparison. A lot of the stuff, the early stuff with Hanzo, when he's fighting the Lin Kuei, kind of reminded me of early parts of Primal.
I still need to watch that.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like kind of similar, because I mean, like, you know, in Primal there's like the main character and the family gets like, you know, killed by the dinosaurs, and he just flies into like a rage and just starts killing everything, which is like what Scorpion does in this. So like stylistic, like a lot of the stylistic stuff in it's kind of similar. Like that's my big thing about this movie is I really enjoy how it was stylized, like in the not necessarily in the same way that I enjoyed how it was done in Defenders of the Realm, because Defenders of the Realm has this this sort of like Bruce Timm-esque quality to it.
Yeah, it's definitely like they're aping the second the new Batman Adventures.
Whereas in this one, it seems more like the way that it's shaded and everything, and like kind of like the backgrounds and stuff. It kind of gives me like a I don't want to say like I don't really have like a better comparison for it, but it's kind of like a light Mike Mignola, like sort of like Hellboy-ish. Like,
okay, yeah. I definitely was getting a very 90s vibe off this art style. If nothing but because they shade almost entirely in black. Like just like stark black.
Yeah, I mean, no better franchise to do it with than like the 90s personified fighting game.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah, no better place to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
beyond that, like this, beyond like how the characters are done, like the backgrounds and stuff. There's like certain sequences that happen, like mostly related to Scorpion, like that have this really cool sort of flourish to them. That kind of but then also like the movie's like littered with like X-ray shots, which is like have been like the X-ray moves, which has been a thing since like the Mortal Kombat 9, which is cool to see.
So if I want to give this. There's a lot of stuff I want to give this movie credit for, but just the amount of just guttural violence in this movie makes it the best animated adaptation of Mortal Kombat, if only because they kept all of that in there.
Because it's like the games now.
Yeah, it's not the kid version you play on Saturday morning. No, this is literally, we're slicing dudes in half and blood spraying everywhere.
Yeah, and they get pretty creative with like how they do certain things. Like there's a scene in there where Scorpion like throws a spear through 3 different dudes' heads and like retracts it, and they like knock heads at coconuts, or like he's like slicing like dudes' heads up into like different quadrants, or like there's a bit there like before he becomes Scorpion where like he kind of looks down at his handiwork and like there's just like a pile of meat inside of a ninja suit, basically. Like,
well, yeah, dude, I mean, I was gonna maybe say this for later, but since we're talking about it, the one Scorpion kill that like took me by surprise is near the end, where he literally pulls Goro's skull out the back of his face.
Oh, and you just see sort of like his empty face
just flop, but it's like he's like Goro's about to kill Liu Kang, and you just see Scorpion's knife just like fly to the front of his face, and like he just rips his skull out the back. And I'm like, fuck. Like that is fucking, like, we've seen Scorpion literally murder his way out of hell. And that's the kill that took me by surprise.
It's good stuff.
But related, like, this isn't something I really praised before in other things. I want to give credit to the sound designers on this movie, because just like the crunching, squishy sounds of just like all the fighting in this, it's like, oh, you like every hit you feel it.
Like the Foley work in this is like it's great.
Just like I felt every bone crunch. So like I just give props to the sound team on this one, because like, man, that's some good shit right there.
Yeah. Speaking of sound, like the voice cast too, I thought very well picked. There's a few returning people that have worked with Mortal Kombat before, like the most notable being Kevin Michael Richardson
did Goro again.
Well, he did Goro in the live action movie, and so he's acted, like he doesn't talk that much in this movie, but it was still cool to like have that association. But then they have like Steve Bloom, who's been voicing Sub-Zero for since like Mortal Kombat 9, I think, or at least Mortal Kombat X. And then you got Patrick Sates, who voiced Scorpion and also in Mortal Kombat. Well, he voiced him in Mortal Kombat X for sure. He might have voiced him in 9 as well, but I know he didn't voice him in 11. He got replaced, so it's cool to have him back. And then I think who else was in there? Well, anyway, but like Johnny Cage is voiced by Joel McHale, who has never done it before, but I feel like was a very good choice for him, like because he's basically
about that. I didn't look up the voice cast before this, and I didn't for some reason I didn't register that was Joel McHale, but it got to the point in the movie where it's Johnny, Sonya, and Liu Kang and Scorpion around the fire, and for whatever there was some line, it finally clicked in my brain. It's like, oh, that's Joel McHale, and I couldn't unhear it for the rest of the movie. Like I stopped hearing Johnny Cage and I just heard Joel McHale.
I mean, like he fits that persona so well. Like I feel like that was an inspired casting choice for
Jeff
him.
Winger if he actually knew how to kick ass. Which I did like that moment where Sonya's like, holy shit, Johnny Cage can kick ass.
Yeah. And like being able, like, seeing all the, because I'm kind of the self-professed like Mortal Kombat expert here. Like there was a time there where I didn't play the games, but I still kept up with like the production of projects and kind of like the lore on characters and stuff. So I've always been a huge fan of the series, even though there was a time there where I wasn't playing the games. But like it's still cool to see like because this is the first animated Mortal Kombat thing they've done since Defenders of the Realm, so it's been a minute. And to see it in the games and everything, that's all fine and good, but to kind of see it like in a different context, like to see Johnny doing like his like doing the splits like nut punch, or like seeing Liu Kang like throwing off the fireballs, or like Goro ripping people's arms off, or Sonya like even just like blowing a kiss, which is like reference to one of her fatalities. Like it's cool to see like all these little references, and not even beyond the moves. Like they have like little there's a bit there where like they get to Shang Tsung's castle, and like that's another props to this too, because like the only other time that we saw kind of like all like a giant like collection of these combatants was in the live action movie, and it was mostly just like regular dudes from what I remember. In this you kind of get like the grander scope of like, oh yeah, okay, these are all these this tournament is all these different realms kind of coming together for like with their champions and stuff. So you get to see like a bunch of the different species and stuff from Mortal Kombat. Like you see Tarkatans, you see Saurians, you see like the vampire bat people, you see like the
weird centaur dude,
the centaur people, yeah, like that type of thing. So it was really cool. But there's a scene in that where like there's just like these two humans, like they're referencing like the Test Your Might minigame from the original Mortal Kombat, where like they're just standing in front of the anvils and they're kind of like channeling themselves, and they do like a karate chop through it.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was like probably one of my favorite little like throwbacks to the games in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of like little tiny, like if you know your Mortal Kombat references, I feel like there's probably a lot that I didn't catch because I'm like only like very vaguely knowledgeable of what Mortal Kombat is.
Yeah.
Like I know the characters and I've watched the story modes for the last 3 games. So
yeah, no, this is like just full of like fan service. Like this is definitely this is made for Mortal Kombat fans first and foremost. But I feel like even like on its own, like it's a very good sort of entry level sort of like, if you don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, this kind of boils it down to like its essential sort of like, this is what the series is about, but also this is what the series is. Like it's hyper violent, it's martial arts, it's a bunch of these different like monsters and demons. It's just like it's just like it's a very good sort of summation of like kind of what the series is.
Right. Now so there is a bit, I do have a little bit of gripe with this movie.
Here it comes.
So like obviously Scorpion is like the poster boy for Mortal Kombat. Obviously because he like showed up in Injustice, and he's like, He's all isn't he the cover character for Mortal Kombat 11?
He is, and he's also featured in the logo for NetherRealm Studios. So he's been on the logo for the studio since it got bought by Warner Brothers.
Right.
And he's also like Ed Boon's made no secret that Scorpion has always been his favorite like Mortal Kombat character.
Right. So Scorpion is obviously like the poster boy for Mortal Kombat. It's no secret that Warner Brothers Animation, when it comes to their movies, really favors Batman. So I
see where you're going here.
Yes. So obviously, if we're gonna sell a Mortal Kombat movie, we're gonna sell it on our flag boy, and we're gonna make this Scorpion centric, which I honestly wonder. I don't know. This movie is sold as a Scorpion movie. But I feel like this is just as much of a story for like Liu Kang, Johnny, and Sonya as it is for Scorpion.
So this is one of those things where I was mentioning where even though like this is like the fourth telling of this story, that it's different. Like they keep on changing things about it. Whether it's regarded as like canon or whatever, it doesn't matter because I mean this is not the game. So and even in the games they've redone it like 3 times now. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's the big thing in this that they change is that they kind of integrate Scorpion's story in more with like the kind of the main plot thread. Because it's almost like it's almost like if you were just to watch like because the thing that most people probably would know would be like the live action movie. It's like if you watch the live action movie and Scorpion were a main character instead of getting killed by Johnny Cage. Like they just sort of like because that's the big thing about this is like they and this is not to say they haven't done it in the games before because I believe it's since the reboot at least. They've kind of given more like visual, like kind of telling of like the sort of like rivalry between the Scorpion and Sub-Zero's clans, which are the Shirai Ryu and the Lin Kuei.
Right.
And like I'm pretty sure like it's in 9. They have like some little cutscenes or like some little like images that kind of show like the clans like fighting and like Scorpion's family getting killed and him getting killed. So in this one they kind of go like in a bit more detail to kind of show like him with his son and like you don't get to see much of his clan because the Lin Kuei have already killed them all, but still to actually see like interaction between him and like his son is like more than we've sort of gotten. And this is just counting these because I kind of totally forgot that there's also Mortal Kombat Legacy, which is like another like that's a live action web series that they did.
Yeah.
There's 2 seasons of it. I never watched the second season. I never got around to it, but I know they kind of retell like I'm pretty sure they retell like the first Mortal Kombat in there as well. I'm not sure how different that is. I have to go and watch that. But yeah, so they kind of integrate Scorpion like very much into the plot thread of Mortal Kombat 1. And yeah, I was kind of wondering too, like if that was a creative decision from because Ed Boon, who's the co-creator of Mortal Kombat. I was wondering if that was maybe a choice from him or if that was kind of like something that Warner Brothers wanted because
I honestly felt it was a marketing decision. And my problem with that is that, like I said, I feel like it does put a little more focus on Scorpion, but it's just as much of a story for the other characters. Because like I like how it started, like, Sub-Zero and his dudes are coming in and murdering all Scorpion's clan, and Sub-Zero, I put in quotes, and I'll explain that in a second. Kills his wife, kills his son, and then kills Scorpion, and then Scorpion goes to hell, and like God of War's rampages his way out of hell.
Yeah.
Which was
totally.
awesome.
He's got like the when he pulled
yeah,
like
dude, he is fucking Kratos in this movie.
Yeah, he's got like the chains of Olympus, like or whatever
he's
the
just
hell
like
they were.
murdering demons left and right, and like literally murders the army of the Netherworld.
Yeah.
Until he gets up to Quan Chi. And it's like, okay, I'm cool with this. And then Scorpion kind of pieces out and pops in here and there throughout the rest of the movie and doesn't really make a big impact on the plot until the very end.
I mean, he's there, like, he's got, like, the scene with, like, Raiden before he tries to get, like, Shinnok's amulet.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't have any, like, really big scenes like the other three do, where they're kind of carrying the story and it's more focusing on them. But Scorpion kind of pops into the story here and there until it gets to the point where at the end where he murders Sub-Zero, but spoiler, it wasn't actually Sub-Zero who killed his clan. It was actually Quan Chi in disguise in the most random I killed Mufasa scene.
To be fair, that is something that they've done at least since Mortal Kombat 9.
Like, I don't know, like I don't know how much of this is like true to canon of Mortal Kombat, but the way it's handled in this movie, like, it's called Scorpion's Revenge, and I'm like, okay, Scorpion's trying to get revenge on Sub-Zero. I'm down. He murders the actual Sub-Zero pretty quickly, but when he finally finds him, and like, okay, he's dead. Cool. He got his revenge. And then like 5 minutes later, Quan Chi's like, hey, BT dubs, I was Sub-Zero in disguise and killed all your people because I wanted to make you a perfect hell soldier or something. And he proceeds to murder the fuck out of Quan Chi. And I'm like, there was nothing that would have suggested up until that point that Quan Chi was like fucking with Scorpion before he got to hell. So it just seemed really random to me.
You know what? It kind of like that in the games as well, if I remember right. Like, that's not something that, that was kind of something that they kind of like that's obviously something that they hadn't always intended for. That was something that kind of retconned in there.
Yeah. I also want to say that I hate Quan Chi's design in this.
Do you really?
I don't. He's like kind of hunched over, and he's a very sloped forehead. And I don't like it. He looks like a weird Neanderthal. Everyone else I'm perfectly fine with the design, but for some reason Quan Chi's design bugged the fuck out of me. It's a weird sloped, like, because his forehead like starts dipping over his eyes, and like what happened to your forehead?
What's wrong with your face?
What is wrong with his face? I don't like it. I don't like your weird Kratos face. But yeah, I mean, in terms of just like, you know, a brutal Mortal Kombat movie, I think this like hits the nail pretty firmly. I mean, I don't know much about Mortal Kombat, but I'd say I was satisfied with what I was presented with, even if like I think there was a little bit of there's a little bit of pacing problems, maybe some motivations that weren't maybe could have been fleshed out a little more. But I got to watch Scorpion and everyone else tear ass through a bunch of monsters and shit for an hour and a half. So, I mean, and
what more could you ask for?
Right. That's like the base of what I'm looking for is like, I want to watch a bunch of magic beefy people beat the shit out of monsters. And I got to see that. And I got to see what it looks like when someone's skull is ripped out the back of their face.
And you got the
Can't wait for the sequel where Sub-Zero goes and kills Scorpion because he was innocent the whole time.
Well, no. If it's like the game, the real Sub-Zero is going to turn into a robot, and his brother will become the new Sub-Zero.
That's not. Well,
is that what happens in the games?
No.
Nope.
Let me push up my nerd glasses really quick and tell you what's all wrong with
I thought
that.
His brother became Sub-Zero and the old Sub-Zero became a robot.
So here's the thing.
Time for school, JD.
Well, actually, me.
Well, actually. Scorpion kills Sub-Zero. Right. Sub-Zero gets it becomes Noob Saibot. That's another right. Sort of. He becomes like a revenant, like Scorpion. Right. Sub-Zero's younger brother, who is named Tundra, becomes the new Sub-Zero. And then, the events of like Mortal Kombat 2. Well, in the kind of more recent retellings of the story, Mortal Kombat 2 would happen at this point. Like Smoke and Sub-Zero would show up. Kung Lao would show up. Katana, Melina, like all that stuff.
So what you're saying is I was half right. I knew old Sub-Zero became a different character, and I couldn't remember if he was the robot Sub-Zero, but as soon as you said it was Noob, it's like, oh, that's right, he became Noob.
Yeah, so the robot Sub-Zero thing was a thing that they did in Mortal Kombat 9, and so that was one of the
Cyber things. Sub-Zero, and he was a character.
Yeah, and that wasn't like that in the original retelling. That was Smoke became a robot, and that's another like thing. That's one of the things that they changed to kind of like differentiate these between each other. So that's a thing though. As a Mortal Kombat fan, I was wholly satisfied with this, and also I just hope it does, because as far as I know, like direct to DVD Warner Brothers animation, that sort of thing, it's mostly relegated to like DC adaptations and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And because there's a bunch of them that I haven't watched, but I know like you guys have, but I mean, like, as far as content and stuff, like it doesn't get like this, right? I mean, they don't. I mean, this is R-rated. I know that. Or any of the other?
There are some of the DC animated movies are R-rated, but I don't think any of them get this like gruesome with its violence. Like there might be some blood and like some suggestive language and stuff, but like no, this is like balls to the wall, like heavy R material.
Yeah.
Like ideally, this is
because pretty intense.
Like a Tom and Jerry visit Willy Wonka.
So that
pretty
that
intense
time
with the violence.
that time that Tom smashes Jerry's head with a mallet and it's just a flat pancake with blood pulling out.
Yeah, they do the X-ray shot every bone.
Yeah.
I want to see some Tom and Jerry X-ray and Mortal Kombat X-ray moves.
I can't wait for that Tom and Jerry reboot.
Where's that mod?
Yeah.
We can put Shaggy in Dragon Ball. We can't put Tom and Jerry in Mortal Kombat.
But yeah, I really hope this does well, because I would love to see them do at least adaptations of Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah.
Like it would be so rad to kind of see those like done. I don't want to say done justice, because I feel like when they kind of redid those 3 games in Mortal Kombat 9, I was pretty satisfied with how those went. But to see it done like in this style and like how they approached and everything, like I would enjoy it very much.
Yeah, I would love to see them make more of these kind of movies. I mean, Mortal Kombat's really had a resurgence in the last couple of years.
Man, thank God for Warner Brothers buying out Midway and just kind of like, And the whole reason that happened was, I'm pretty sure I must have mentioned this in the Defenders of the Realm episode, but like, if Mortal Kombat versus DC, that game, if that hadn't had happened, I mean, I don't know that Warner Bros. Would have bought Mortal Kombat, and like they probably would have it'd be dead. Like they wouldn't exist anymore. Like, so that was like kind of like their saving throw. Like they did this game that nobody liked, and then like it led to like the biggest, like greatest things that have happened for Mortal Kombat since like its popularity in the 90s.
Now go ahead, Kyle.
Can't wait for the next Joust movie. Maybe Tapper will get its time in the spotlight.
Listen, I would love to see them contextualize Joust, because I need to know why they're fucking flying around on ostriches, like hitting eggs with like lances and shit. Like
some heavy metal stuff right there.
Yeah. And like, you tell me you wouldn't watch a fucking Joust movie like in the style of heavy metal?
I would.
I didn't watch Rampage, and I like Rampage.
Well, I mean, The Rock can only save something so much.
We'll get the Miss Pac-Man game. Trying to look up Midway games. Pretty sure Miss Pac-Man is Namco.
Yes, Miss Pac-Man is Namco.
Spy Hunter.
Dude.
Oh yeah.
No,
dude, they were trying to get a Spy Hunter movie with The Rock made like in the mid 2000s.
What is it with The Rock and Midway properties? Because he was on the Rampage too.
He's just a fan, I guess.
I'll tell you what, if they were gonna do a movie of a Midway property, do fucking Sinistar. Because like that's a fucking like disaster movie waiting to happen, dude. Like this giant like Unicron ass like planet that like yells at you and fucking chases you. Like
man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you knuckleheads want to say about Mortal Kombat before we get out of here?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I think without going to like a bunch of specific things I liked about it, like just overall, like just I thought it was fantastic. Like when it comes out eventually on Blu-ray, I'm definitely going to buy it just so I can show my support for it, because I want more. I want more of this. And like, that's, I'll always be a Mortal Kombat fanboy, so I think I was going to like this regardless, because I kind of have a higher threshold for crap. So, but like, but I wouldn't consider this crap. I would say that this is very good.
This is very well done.
Yes, and definitely more well done than potentially what we're going to be covering next week.
Yeah, so make sure you turn in for that. I haven't watched what we're doing next week yet, but Matt tells me it's not pleasant.
Well, it's not that it's not pleasant. It's just boring. It's just so fucking boring.
You're doing so well selling me on it.
Oh, it's so boring, JD. Don't watch it.
All right. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening for this round of Fight Month. We will be back again next week with another fighting
boring
game.
Episode.
Man, you gotta sell these better to get people to come back.
Oh, it's a fucking life of the party, man.
There you go.
Episode, it's gonna
boy.
be off the rails.
Yeah, samurai fun.
The scorpion chain.
Oh, Kyle getting a zinger there. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back again next week. Catch you then.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the show. Join our Discord to chat with us, and subscribe to our Patreon for some cool bonuses. Links are in the description. We'll see you next time.